Have you ever heard of a place so massive it feels like a country within the United States? Well, I'm talking about King Ranch, a property so vast that it makes many millionaire farms look like small homesteads. When I first arrived there, it felt like stepping into an empire, a lost kingdom in the heart of Texas. The dry wind blew between endless fences, and the reddish soil told stories of power, blood, and fortune. King Ranch isn't just a farm. It's a symbol of the conquest of the American West, a living monument to pioneer spirit and human ambition. Founded in 1853 by Richard King, a visionary riverboat captain who defied nature and built an empire from nothing, the ranch expanded to an unbelievable size, nearly 3 million acres, divided into 4 massive sections across South Texas. That's about the size of Rhode Island. But what really amazed me wasn't the size. It was what's hidden inside. King Ranch holds secrets few people have ever seen, secrets that mix tradition, technology, mystery, and even a touch of mysticism. I remember looking across that endless horizon and thinking, this isn't just a ranch. It's the beating heart of rural America. And as I explored deeper, I discovered that King Ranch is much more than cattle and award-winning horses. There are buried treasures in its history, tales of industrial espionage, pure bloodlines, and a legacy that shaped modern American ranching. In this video, I'll show you what truly lies behind the gates of this empire. And believe me, you won't see the same world again after discovering King Ranch. When I began digging into the story behind King Ranch, I realized everything there carries an aura of mystery and ambition. The man who started this empire, Richard King, wasn't just a farmer. He was a visionary who saw wealth where others saw only dust and desert. Born in 1824 to Irish immigrants, King ran away from home as a young boy and began working as an apprentice on a steamboat. It was there, navigating the southern rivers of the United States, that he learned about trade, logistics, and most importantly, the power of controlling territory. They say that when he first saw the Santa Gertrudis River in Texas, he knew it was his destiny. And he was right. In 1853, he bought his first piece of land, a dry, barren area considered worthless by most. But King saw beyond appearances. He knew the secret of success was turning the impossible into opportunity. Slowly, he bought neighboring lands, hired entire families of Mexican workers, the famous Quinanos, who became a clan within the ranch and began shaping what would become the largest cattle operation in the United States. But few know that Richard King didn't build his empire solely on hard work. There are records and stories suggesting secret alliances with politicians and military figures of the time, giving him an edge in land disputes and water rights, a precious resource in the Texas desert. In exchange, King Ranch became a strategic point, not just for commerce, but for confidential government operations. While most saw a ranch, King saw a fortress of power and influence. Every fence built, every horse bred, every branded cow carried not only the ranch's emblem, the iconic running W, but also the weight of a dynasty in the making. And that symbol, even today, is revered as a mark of authority in the ranching world. They say anyone who steps on King Ranch can feel the past vibrating beneath their feet. A past made of conquests, secrets, and ambitions that transcended generations. Richard King died in 1885, but his presence still echoes through every acre of that colossal land. After Richard King's death, King Ranch didn't just survive, it thrived, transforming into a true powerhouse. Under the leadership of the King family, especially Henrietta King and later her son-in-law Robert Clayburgh, the rural empire entered its golden age. During this period, the ranch solidified its dominance over American cattle production and became a symbol of innovation, power, and mystery. King Ranch was the birthplace of the Santa Gertrudis breed, the first cattle breed developed in the United States, a cross between Zebu cattle and the European Shorthorn. This new line brought heat resistance, rapid weight gain, and superior beef quality, and that's when the King Ranch name spread across the world. But behind the glory and headlines, something deeper was happening. During World War II, the US government used parts of King Ranch for secret training operations, taking advantage of its vastness and isolation. There were rumors of soldiers, agents, and even pilots being trained in restricted areas, far from prying eyes. Some old ranch hands claimed to have seen unidentified aircraft flying over the ranch at night, and even underground structures being built in remote zones. Officially, the family never confirmed anything, but traces remain. Partially declassified military documents reveal that the ranch indeed served as a strategic training site during the war. And some say King Ranch maintained federal agency connections for decades in activities far beyond agriculture. Meanwhile, the ranch kept expanding. At its peak, King Ranch owned millions of acres, not only in Texas, but also in Florida, Brazil, and Australia. It became a global empire, and within it, secrets remained sealed. Access to certain zones was restricted even for long-time employees. What was hidden there? Genetic labs? Military stockpiles? Or simply the pride of a dynasty guarding something the world wasn't ready to know? King Ranch was, and still is, a land of contrasts. Luxury and simplicity, tradition and technology, faith and mystery. And it's precisely that mix that made it the most legendary ranch in America. Today, King Ranch is not just a ranch. It's a billion-dollar corporation with business ventures that stretch far beyond cattle fields and barbed wire fences. When I visited recently, what I saw was an impressive blend of past and future. The same dry soil once tilled by hand is now flown over by drones, and the old wooden barns have been replaced by control centers equipped with cutting-edge technology. King Ranch operates as a global company, investing in energy, agriculture, technology, and animal genetics. Its elite cattle are exported worldwide, and its brand, the legendary Running W, has become a mark of excellence, appearing on everything from saddles to limited edition Ford trucks. The King Kleberg family still holds control, but their power is quieter, more strategic. They rarely make headlines, yet they continue to shape the course of American ranching, funding research, and influencing entire markets. What caught my attention most, however, was the secrecy. There are areas within King Ranch that remain completely off-limits, even to high-level visitors. A local guard told me, with a serious tone, that nobody goes in there without direct authorization from the board. And when I asked why, he simply said, "Some things are better left unknown." That kind of answer only fuels speculation. Some believe the ranch hides experimental facilities focused on biotechnology and animal breeding. Others say it shelters a locked archive filled with documents and artifacts that could rewrite parts of American history. The truth is, King Ranch continues to operate like a state within a state, with its own rules, its own security force, and total control over who comes and goes. Everything runs with military precision. No visitor moves unmonitored. No camera records without approval. It's the kind of place where silence speaks louder than words. And as I walked across those endless fields, surrounded by fences that seemed to vanish into the horizon, I couldn't help but wonder, what does King Ranch still hide from the world? And why so much effort to keep its gates closed, even in an age of transparency and information? Time has passed, but King Ranch remains a name that evokes respect, curiosity, and even fear in some. It's no exaggeration to say it has become a cultural institution almost as important to Texas as oil itself. When you speak of King Ranch, you're speaking of power, tradition, and well-guarded secrets. But behind that legendary aura, there's also controversy. Environmentalists accuse the ranch of exploiting natural resources without restraint during the 20th century, draining rivers and altering ecosystems to expand its grazing lands. Supporters, however, argue that King Ranch was actually a pioneer in conservation, creating reserves and protecting native species, practices many modern ranches still fail to adopt. There's also the human side of the story. The Quinenos, descendants of the original Mexican workers hired by Richard King, still live and work on the ranch. They're often described as part of the family, but some say the line between tradition and servitude has always been blurry. Many were born, lived and died within the ranch's boundaries, never knowing another life. King Ranch, in that sense, is a social microcosm, a portrait of power concentrated in the hands of a few. And when it comes to power, politics is never far away. Over the decades, King Ranch has maintained strong ties with governments, banks and corporations. Campaign donations, industrial partnerships and influence over agricultural laws all form part of its reach. Even without seeking the spotlight, the King Empire continues to shape decisions that affect rural America. Despite the criticism and speculation, one thing is undeniable. King Ranch carries an almost mystical energy. There's something in that. Soil that feels larger than history itself. A force blending ambition, faith and silence. Visitors often describe the sensation of walking on sacred ground, where every rock and barn tells part of a saga that spans centuries. And maybe that's why, even as time moves forward and technology evolves, King Ranch remains the ultimate symbol of American rural life. A reminder that power and mystery always walk hand in hand, and that some stories were never meant to be fully told. After diving deep into the stories, secrets and legacy of King Ranch, one thing became crystal clear to me. This place is not just a ranch. It's a symbol of power, a monument to human ambition, and a reminder that success always comes with a price. Every acre of that land seems to echo the decisions that shape not only Texas, but the very spirit of America. As I watched the sun set over that reddish horizon, I thought of Richard King, the man who started it all, and wondered if he could have imagined what his creation would become. An empire that survived wars, crises and entire eras. A name that still commands respect and stirs curiosity across the world. King Ranch, in many ways, is the portrait of an America that still lives in the shadows. Powerful, silent, and impossible to ignore. Their tradition and technology merge into one. An empire breathing beneath the desert heat, protected by invisible fences of history, money, and secrecy. But no matter how much is said about it, the truth is that no one really knows everything King Ranch hides. And maybe that's what makes it so fascinating. The fact that there's still a place where mystery triumphs over transparency, where silence is the purest form of power. That's why I keep going, exploring the world of great properties, revealing what lies behind the gates of the most impressive rural empires on Earth. If you also want to uncover the secrets of the world's most powerful, luxurious, and mysterious ranches, subscribe now to Celebrities Farm, turn on notifications, and join me on this journey. In the next video, I'll take you to another legendary place, a ranch that redefines what wealth and tradition truly mean. You think King Ranch is the peak of rural power? Wait until you see what's coming next. The world of millionaire farms is full of secrets. And here, in every video, we reveal one more.